You have to have an ability to handle pressure, because no matter how successful you are, I have many, many friends and enemies, a lot of enemies too, I don't care, but they're smart. I don't like to talk in the negative, but sometimes people are better off knowing the fact. Should I tell you what it is or not? Yes. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now, I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure. In which case, they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, one of the things I tell people about pressure is, you know what? They said, how do you handle pressure? Who's had more pressure than me? Have I had pressure over the years? And if you can't handle pressure, you have to know that about yourself. Handle pressure. If you can't, that's okay. They asked me the question, how do you handle the stress? And somebody actually said, Donald, you're so handsome. How have you stayed so handsome under all this pressure? And I actually thought of it to myself, you have to remember, it doesn't matter. I have some people, they say, I've got to be successful. They'll never be successful. It's too crazy. They can't think straight. So you've got to be able to sort of say to yourself, nothing matters that much other than the real big deals with family, with your faith, etc. You've got to have passion for your family, for your life, for your church, for whatever it is. You've got to have that passion. You've got to just love it. Don't let people take advantage. Get even. And if nothing else, other people will see that, and they're going to say, I'm going to let Jim Smith or Sarah Malone, I'm going to let them alone because they're tough customers. So I always say, the other thing I tell people, because in New York it's like a total catastrophe, it's an epidemic, I always say, always have a prenuptial agreement, but I won't say it here because you people don't get divorced, right? Nobody gets divorced. How do I get my point across without saying it? I just did it, right? But to be a winner, and you're all winners, you've got to think like a winner. Always study something, but when you study it, don't do it just because it's of interest. Do it because, remember, you'll be graduating in 2 years or 4 years or whatever it may be, and you want to use that as a base for a great life for you, your family. College time is so precious, such an important time, probably in a way the most important time of your lives. Don't waste that period of time on studying things that just won't help you. The word luck is very interesting, but if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like.
But the greatest story to me is Gary Player. Gary Player was a golfer, a great golfer, one of the great golfers of all time. He worked harder than any other golfer, but he was a small guy. But he hit it good, he hit it far, great golfer. Everybody's heard of Gary Player from South Africa. But Gary Player worked hard. And he was the first time, maybe I've heard it again, but he was the one, the harder I work, the luckier I get. That was Gary Player. He worked so hard. Remember that expression, the harder I work, the luckier I get. The harder he worked, he got stronger, longer. He practiced putting, he practiced chipping. The guy was unbelievable. He won 18 majors, senior and regular. He won like 175 tournaments worldwide, which I think is the record. But he was a hard worker. And I just think it's a great thing for all of the young people out here and the older people. Hey, I'm still working just as hard. I think I work hard. I think I'm working harder in the last 8 months than I've ever worked before in my life. Believe me. But I enjoy it. So just remember those few little things. Momentum, love what you do, always love what you do. Always. I have a friend who's a guy who was born to a very, very successful Wall Street baron. And the Wall Street baron is a vicious, ruthless, horrible human being, okay? You would not like him for dinner. You'd respect him, but you wouldn't like him. And the son was in the father's firm on Wall Street, and the firm is a massive firm. And he was unable to compete really with all the young guns in the firm. And what happened is the son is at a club. He's a member of a country club out in Westchester. And they were doing a major renovation of the clubhouse and the greens and the golf course, a big renovation. And they put him in charge. And he was fantastic. He was there at 6 in the morning and 5 in the morning, and he wouldn't leave till 9 in the evening. And the job came in under budget, ahead of schedule. His wife called me. She said, he's like a new man. He's so happy. He's doing this, and he's so happy.
You're going to have a lot of people, your parents included, they're going to be saying, don't do that, don't do that. And you have to listen to them. They're wise. They've been around. They've seen. And sometimes, and I tell people, sometimes they go into a business where basically you can't be successful. But you have to make sure that you do something that you love. Try to go into something that you love that can be a good business. So, a lot of people go into businesses that are just not good.
I will tell you that the happy people are the people, number one, the people with great families, people that have great relationships with their wives or husband. Very important toward success. I don't want to talk you out of things because we're talking about success. Most people think success is measured in the form of monetary success. It's not really. I think I've seen every type of person there is that God created, if you want to know the truth. And the people are the happiest are not necessarily the people that are the wealthiest. And one quick one that we also talk about and that I talk about, there's a certain amount of luck. So I have a friend who's just an unlucky guy. He's smart. He went to the Wharton School of Finance. He's a brilliant guy, but he's always been unlucky. And you'll find when you become very successful, the people that you will like best are the people that are less successful than you. But this guy was totally injury prone. No matter what happened, totally injury prone. And he'd always be ill. I'd call his wife and she'd say, oh no, he's very sick. What's wrong with him? And he said, tell me something. I'd say, all right. So he had a broken shoulder, and now he's coming home. He's riding on the Long Island Expressway, and an 18-wheeler hits the signs that say to New York City, 10 miles, right? Knocks over a sign. Think of this. He didn't even get hit by the truck. He got hit by a sign.
How close are we to like a World War III type scenario?
One madman away. A professor in the history of MIT, he was there for almost 40 years. Dr. John Trump, and he would tell me about the power of nuclear, and I sort of wouldn't believe it. And he was right. The power is so massive. But everybody said, because of this power, nobody will use it, because they're assuming that people are sane. Somebody will use it, and when they use it, it will be devastation like never seen before. It's assuming that people win wars, because, you're not going to use it. But if you're going to lose a war, you'll say, hey, we're losing the war. If we use nuclear, that makes up for a lot of loss. That's what will happen. And so it's very dangerous. And the fact is that there are people out there right now, there are countries out there right now, the leaders and the leadership, and I know a lot of them, they would use it. If forced, they would use it. And once it gets used, the world as you know it will end. So you're talking about a level of power, a level of heat, a level of destruction. Nobody talks about that. They talk about global warming. A World War III will be many times greater than World War I or World War II because of the weaponry. You're not going to have army tanks going around shooting each other. You may have that too, but ultimately that won't matter.
up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.